All right, here are some Samuel Johnson quotes, otherwise known as Dr. Johnson. He lived in the 1700s. He wrote the first comprehensive English language dictionary. So powerful intellect. He's one of my favorites. So here we go. He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man. A man ought to read just as inclination leads him, for what he reads as a task will do him little good. Attack is the reaction. I never think I have hit hard unless it rebounds. Few enterprises of great labor or hazard will be undertaken if we had not the power of magnifying the advantages we expect from them. He who sees different ways to the same end will, unless he watches carefully over his own conduct, lay out too much of his attention upon the comparison of probabilities and the adjustment of expedients, and pause in the choice of his road till some accident interrupts his journey. I would not give half a guinea to live under one form of government other than another. It is of no moment to the happiness of an individual. I guess a note about the context here. I think he's talking about the parliamentary types of government where where an election brings in a new government, and if the government falls, that just means there have to be new elections. So one form of government, that's probably what he's talking about. He's not talking about despotisms versus democracy. The applause of a single human being is of great consequence. He that writes the history of his own times, if he adheres steadily to truth, will write that which his own times will not easily endure. He must be content to reposit his book till all private passions shall cease, and love and hatred give way to curiosity. He that writes upon general principles or delivers universal truths may hope to be often read, because his work will be equally useful at all times and in every country. But he cannot expect it to be received with eagerness or to spread with rapidity, because desire can have no particular stimulation. That which is to be loved long must be loved with reason rather than with passion. If you are idle, be not solitary. If you are solitary, be not idle. There is nothing more fatal to a man whose business is to think than to have learned the art of regaling his mind with airy gratifications. Other vices or follies are restrained by fear, reformed by admonition, or rejected by the conviction which the comparison of our conduct with that of others may in time produce. But this invisible rot of the mind, this secret prodigality of being, is secure from detection and fearless of reproach. The dreamer retires to his apartments, shuts out the cares and interruptions of mankind, and abandons himself to his own fancy. New worlds rise up before him, one image is followed by another, and a long succession of delights dances around him. He is at last called back to life by nature or by custom, and enters peevishly into society, because he cannot model it to his own will. The folly of allowing ourselves to delay what we know cannot finally be delayed is one of the general weaknesses which, in spite of the instruction of moralists and the remonstrances of reason, prevail to a greater or lesser degree in every mind. It frequently happens that applause abates diligence. Whosoever finds himself to have performed more than was demanded will be contented to spare the labor of unnecessary performances and sit down to enjoy at ease his superfluities of honor. He whom success has made confident of his abilities quickly claims the privilege of negligence, and looks contemptuously upon the gradual advances of a rival, whom he imagines himself able to leave behind whenever he shall again summon his force to the contest. But long intervals of pleasure dissipate attention and weaken constancy, nor is it easy for him that is sunk from diligence into sloth to rouse out of his lethargy, to recollect his notions, rekindle his curiosity, and engage with his former ardor in the tools of his study. Those who attain any excellence commonly spend life in one pursuit, for excellence is not often gained upon easier terms. The authors that in any nation last from age to age are very few, because there are very few that have any other claim to notice than that they catch hold on present curiosity and gratify some accidental desire, or produce some temporary conveniency. I have all my life long been lying till noon, yet I tell all young men, and tell them with great sincerity, that nobody who does not rise early will ever do any good.